my name is John Skane. Today we are going to be stretching a canvas, and I'm going to show you all the materials you're going to need if you want to do it. So let's get started. So for today's episode, I'm going to show you how to stretch a canvas. Now, in front of me are a few different materials that you're going to need if you want to do this. First, you're going to need canvas. I've got a few different types of canvas here. This is pre-packaged, comes in 3 yards, and it is 84 inches long. Now this is a number 10 cotton duck, and that means that it's all cotton, and that the 10 refers to the weight of it. This is a thicker canvas, and it's going to have a little bit more tooth. And right here is a number 12 cotton duck, and this one is 60 inches wide by 3 yards long. Now this is going to have a finer tooth to it, and it's probably better if you're painting portraits or something like that. Why would you want to stretch your own canvas when you can just buy them from the store? Well, the reason is that you can only buy certain sizes at the store. And if you need something that is kind of an off size, then you're going to have to stretch it yourself. So the other thing you're going to need are stretcher bars. And in front of me are a couple types. These are wood, and this is sort of the cheapest option. They're somewhat thin. They're about 1 inch thick when you put them on the wall, and that's going to be similar to like this. Another type you can get are thicker, and you can see this is called, they kind of refer to it as like a gallery wrap. And this is going to be a thicker profile when it's hanging against the wall. Now, in the past I used to make my own because I had a wood shop, but that's a little bit more complicated, and it takes, having the tools to be able to do it. If you want to see that in a future episode, let me know and I can try to figure out a way to show you how to make your own stretcher bars. But for today, we're going to be using these stretchers right here that I bought at the art store. Now these are from Masterpiece Pro, and they're really nice quality. They're the same stretcher bars and canvas that I use back here for a lot of the paintings that I've been doing. Now, another option that you have is if you want a hard surface, something that's not flexible when you're painting, you can always stretch canvas over a pre-made panel or a panel that you even make. Now this is a 11 by 14 panel that I just happen to have here in the studio, and if I wanted to, I could use the canvas to stretch over this, and it would give me a much harder surface to paint on. And it would essentially look the same as a stretched canvas. So besides the stretcher bars and the canvas, the other things you're going to need for this job are these tools. First, you're going to need a stretcher plier. If you want, you can use safety goggles. You're going to need a staple gun of some sort or tacks, and a hammer. I use a staple gun because it's easier, but you could use tacks. So now that I've got all my materials and tools, let's get started.
So, since all that video you just watched, I had some other stuff going on, and I had to film the rest of this video at a later date. Anyways, after I've figured out what size canvas I want to make, I assemble the stretcher bars by sliding the corners together and installing a center brace if needed. On smaller frames, it's usually not required. After that, I lay out the canvas so that I can get the most out of the piece that I've cut. I'm putting the stretcher bars on the top of it and making sure everything fits. You can see that I have several different sizes of stretcher bars that I've made, and that's so I can be the most efficient with the canvas that I buy, and I don't have a lot of extra scraps laying around. Once I've got everything ready, I'm ready to start stapling the canvas to the stretcher. So first I lay it out and make sure that everything is kind of even, and I usually leave about 3 inches or so that I can get a good grip on it when I'm stapling the canvas to the frame. I fold over the sides to make sure that the canvas is in the center, and I make sure that the frame is nice and square by running a diagonal check of the measurements from corner to corner. If the numbers are the same, it's square. I then start by folding over one edge, and I put a staple right in the middle. I then go over to the opposite side and do the same thing, putting a staple right in the middle, while pulling on the canvas a little bit so I start to get some tension across it. I follow that up by doing the 2 other sides. This canvas and stretcher is pretty small, so I don't actually have to use the stretcher pliers very often. But if this was a pre-primed canvas, I would definitely have to use the stretcher pliers to get the proper tension. So you have to use stretcher pliers when using primed canvas, but with unprimed canvas you can usually just use your fingers. You don't want to get the canvas so tight that when you gesso it and prime it, that it shrinks and becomes warped. The key is to get just enough tension so that when you prime it with the water-based gesso, that it shrinks the canvas and tightens everything up, getting rid of all the wrinkles and giving you the proper amount of tension. You can usually tell if you stretched it too tight when it's gessoed because the frame may warp. At that point, I would go back and take the staples off of two sides and loosen some of the tension. So once I've got each side stapled with a few staples working my way out toward each of the corners, I just kind of work my way around, doing a few staples on one side, then going over to the opposite side and doing a few on that. I try to keep the tension evenly distributed as I work my way toward the corners. I usually do 2 or 3 staples at a time, all the while pulling down and toward the corner with my hands to sort of distribute the tension away from the middle and out toward the corners. This is critical for getting a nice evenly tensioned canvas that doesn't have any warping or dimples on the face of the canvas that might show through on your painting. Okay, so once we've got all 4 sides stapled to within a few inches of the corner, we're ready to start folding it over and finishing it off. What I like to do is have a nice and even seam on the corner so that there's just a nice line with not a fold over that you can see. So what I do is I kind of line it all up and sort of pre-crease it and get it all set before I put the staples in and get the tension right. I want to still pull down and toward the corner when I'm putting in the staples, and I kind of pull it tight and pull it so that the tension starts going out toward the corner. Then I fold over the canvas so that it's nice and even. You really need 3 hands for this part. But basically I kind of fold the back around and I get the tension where I want it, and then I put a staple in it. Then, keeping everything nice and neat, I fold the top over and get the crease where I want it, and then put a couple staples in. So what I've got is a nice flat side on both the top and the side without a piece of canvas that is folded over that you can see. Then I just put a few more staples in and finish it off. So I go around and I do all 4 corners the same. I don't have to do the opposite corner on this, I can just do the same side. But I basically do the same thing and finish it all off. I hope you liked this video and that it was useful and helpful if you are just learning how to stretch a canvas for yourself. It really does help to be able to know how to do this, because you can make any size canvas that you want this way. And in the end, it actually ends up being cheaper for a larger canvas. Let me know if you have any questions about stretching a canvas, or if any of the stuff that I've tried to explain was confusing. I'll try to get back to you. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, let me know down in the comments. If you found this useful, please give this video a like. It really would help me out. I've got a lot of art and photography related videos on my channel, so if you're into that sort of thing, I'd really appreciate it if you'd check them out and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any friends that would like it, let them know too. Alright, Thanks, and I'll see you next time.